Within weeks, your core beliefs can be fundamentally rewritten, then fiercely defended, without you ever realizing how it happened. Psychology knows exactly how this works. We often pride ourselves on our rationality, our independent thought, the conviction that our deepest beliefs are forged in the crucible of experience and logic. But what if that conviction itself is a carefully constructed illusion? What if the very foundations of your worldview were subtly influenced, perhaps even entirely fabricated, by forces you never consciously perceived? This isn't about blatant coercion or dramatic brainwashing, it's far more insidious, operating beneath the radar of your awareness, shaping your reality one imperceptible step at a time. Every day, from the ads you scroll past to the news narratives you consume, to the leaders you follow, your mind is being subtly sculpted. The stakes are profound. If we don't understand how our beliefs are built, we remain vulnerable, our mental landscape a canvas for anyone with the right tools. The central mystery isn't just how people are persuaded, but how their very sense of what is true, what is right, and who they are, can be engineered from the outside in. What truly makes a belief feel authentic, beyond mere repetition or convenience? The answer lies in a cocktail of cognitive shortcuts and self-deception, perfected over decades by those who understand the human mind better than we understand ourselves. The first ingredient in this potent psychological cocktail is deceptively simple: repetition. Consider the illusory truth effect, a phenomenon extensively studied since the 1970s by researchers like Lynn Hasher, David Goldstein, and Thomas Tappino. Their work, and countless studies since, has shown a consistent and unsettling pattern. The more often you hear a statement, regardless of its actual veracity, the truer it begins to feel. Your brain mistakes familiarity for validity. Think about that for a moment. A complete falsehood, repeated often enough, starts to acquire the sheen of truth, not because it has been logically validated, but because it feels easy to process. This cognitive fluency tricks your mind into believing it's accurate. Advertisers have mastered this. Why else would a catchy jingle or a brand slogan be drilled into your consciousness hundreds of times a day? They aren't trying to logically convince you, they're creating a sense of unquestionable familiarity. That feeling of "I've heard this before" suddenly transforms into "this must be right." It's not about the content, it's about the echo. This isn't just about products, it extends to political rhetoric, social ideologies, and conspiracy theories. A leader repeats a simple phrase, a cult leader reiterates a core tenet, and over time, that phrase or tenet begins to resonate with an almost intrinsic truth, not because of its merit, but because its neural pathways have been worn smooth by constant exposure. Could the very conviction you feel be a cleverly orchestrated illusion? But this alone isn't enough to build deep, unwavering conviction that withstands scrutiny. There's a deeper, more personal layer to how these external echoes become internal truths. The second, more unsettling, component is source amnesia, the phenomenon where you remember information but forget where or when you learned it. You retain the fact, but lose the context of its origin. Your brain, in its relentless quest to make sense of the world, then often confabulates a plausible source, frequently attributing the idea to itself, or to some vague, internal process of deduction. This is why urban legends persist, why misinformation spreads like wildfire, and why political narratives, once heard, can feel like self-evident truths. You remember the fact that a certain political figure is corrupt, or that a particular group holds a dangerous agenda, but you can't quite recall if you read it in a reputable paper, heard it from a friend, or saw it in a sensationalist social media post. The origin becomes irrelevant, the information itself takes root. When this combines with the illusory truth effect, the implications are profound. You repeatedly hear a claim, it feels true due to familiarity, and then you forget where you first encountered it, leading your brain to conclude it must have been your own insight, or a commonly known, universally accepted truth. This is particularly potent in closed environments like cults, where external information is restricted, and the group becomes the singular source of truth. Members forget their pre-cult beliefs, remember the group's doctrines, and attribute them to their own evolving understanding. But this isn't just about forgetting. It's about actively building new realities inside your head. And this building process often involves your own unwitting participation, strengthening beliefs you didn't even realize you were adopting. The third and arguably most powerful mechanism is the foot-in-the-door technique, a persuasion strategy that exploits our deep-seated need for self-consistency. First studied extensively by psychologists Jonathan Friedman and Scott Fraser in the 1960s, it demonstrates that if you can get someone to agree to a small, seemingly innocuous request, they become far more likely to agree to a larger, more significant request later. The initial small act subtly shifts their self-perception. If you sign a petition for a cause, you begin to see yourself as someone who supports that cause. If you attend a casual introductory meeting for a group, you start to identify as someone interested in that group. Each small commitment, each tiny yes, creates a psychological anchor, a new facet of your self-identity. When a larger request comes, rejecting it would create cognitive dissonance, a conflict between your actions and your self-image. To alleviate this discomfort, you rationalize your previous commitment, often by internalizing and strengthening the belief system associated with it. This technique is a cornerstone of cult recruitment, political mobilization, and even aggressive sales tactics. A free webinar leads to a low-cost course, which leads to an expensive retreat, each step rationalized by the previous one. You aren't being forced, you are actively choosing, and with each choice, you become more deeply entangled, more thoroughly convinced. The influence isn't a sudden, dramatic brainwash, it's a series of tiny, self-justifying steps that feel like your own choices. This potent combination, illusory truth making claims feel authentic, source amnesia obscuring their origin, and the foot-in-the-door technique leveraging your own actions for commitment, forms deeply ingrained, yet externally fabricated, beliefs. These three mechanisms, the echo of illusory truth, the phantom origins of source amnesia, and the self-reinforcing trap of the foot-in-the-door technique, don't operate in isolation. They form a powerful synergy. Imagine a constant stream of information, some true, much of it skewed or false, repeated across your various feeds and interactions. This information, through sheer frequency, starts to feel intuitively correct. You then encounter similar narratives again, but perhaps in a slightly different context or from a different source. Over time, the original source fades, leaving only the truth of the information itself. Your brain, unaware of its external implantation, attributes this familiar truth to your own reason or common knowledge. Now, imagine a group or leader asks for a small, seemingly harmless commitment related to these familiar truths, to share a post, attend a rally, make a minor donation. You comply, because it aligns with what feels right and with your emerging self-perception as someone who cares about these issues. Each subsequent commitment, each act of public support, solidifies your internal belief. You don't just believe, you become a believer. You have actively participated in the sculpting of your own reality, often without a single moment of conscious awareness that your core beliefs were being strategically assembled from the outside. The scariest part? Your brain actively participates in its own resculpting. It's not just passive reception, it's an active, internal process of justification and integration, making externally planted ideas feel like authentic, deeply held convictions. Understanding these mechanisms isn't about fostering paranoia, it's about empowerment. It's about building a mental shield against the constant barrage of influence that seeks to shape your reality. The first step is critical self-awareness. When you encounter a strong conviction or an idea that just feels right, pause. Ask yourself, why does this feel true? Can I trace its origin? Is this genuinely my own conclusion, or is it an echo of something I've heard repeatedly? Challenge your own cognitive fluency. Ease of processing is not proof of truth. Actively seek out diverse sources, not just those that confirm what you already suspect. Engage with information that actively challenges your perspective, even if it feels uncomfortable. This discomfort is a sign that your brain is working, not just passively absorbing. Be wary of small commitments, especially those that align with emotionally charged narratives. Recognize that agreeing to a seemingly minor request can be the first step down a path you didn't intend to travel. Your mind is your most precious asset. Its landscape is under constant siege by those who understand the subtle science of persuasion. By understanding how they operate, you can reclaim agency over your own beliefs, fortify your inner world, and become the true architect of your own reality. How many of your deepest convictions were truly born from independent thought, and how many were subtly placed there, waiting for you to claim them as your own?